think later today raises the button, and I'm pretty sure I shove all in. I think that's a pretty standard spot to do that against a big stack because they should be raising a pretty wide range on the button, almost any hand. I think. Yeah, I can see. You can see me now already thinking about it. Yeah, you can see. Well, just by his timing and when he pots it like that, I don't think his hand is very strong. I mean, why would you be making it 900 with such a big hand or a pretty decent hand? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I think that's what I'm thinking about right now, and I'm pretty sure I shove in my stack. And I think me and later today have a lot of battles leading up to the final table, and I'm pretty sure that's where I get most of my chips going in. Yeah, so there's a combination of his raise size and his timing when he made that raise that I decided to shove in a6 there. You can see me looking at chip record stack, hoping he shoves it in, because I think I'm going to be shoving over it. I'm pretty sure this is an interesting hand. His chip record shoves here. I think his range is definitely going to be much stronger than it would be if it was folded to him, so I'm pretty sure I would fold S4 if he shoved in this spot. Especially with a cut-off limper in later today. Yeah, you can see me deciding whether I want to complete, which I don't like to complete a lot of hands in the small blind. Even I struggle with completing a hand with ace high, but I eventually make the call, which actually turns out to be a pretty profitable call. Yeah, so we flop top pair, and I think it's a pretty standard place to check. And I think Soros makes a pretty big bet. Yeah, he pots it. So you can see me decide whether I want to shove all in or not. I'm not sure what later today has, just because he snap called. I don't think he has a very strong hand. It's either a flush draw or a hand like Queen Jack. I'm pretty sure Soros either has a flush draw or a weak 4. And since I've got the best kicker with a 4, I think it's a pretty standard shove. And later today, doing some pretty donkey stuff. I don't think he's going to do this with pocket 7s, for example. Like that's a hand I'm only worried about. Is a hand like 5, 6s, 7s, or 8s. If he decided to limp with those sort of hands. So I think it's a pretty good play to be shoving all in with ace 4 here, especially when Soros pots it. And as you can see, turned out to be the right decision, and we pick up a lot of chips. We've now got 9k, which is probably the third or fourth biggest in the tournament. And we pick up another big hand, ace queen on the button. Yeah, it's a good idea to keep an eye on the other table, just to see what their sort of stack sizes are and who's raising a lot of hands. Because you want to be finding spots in the final table to be shoving over, like a hijack raiser, with like ace 8 or something. So we have ace queen, and later today limps again. So I don't think he's a very strong player, and I have position on him. I think this raise is a little too big. I think it's actually one of the mistakes I make. I think I should prefer to make it 1200 rather than 1500 because I don't think I'm getting called very often. As you can see, I take it down, which is not a bad result. If it's a mistake, it's a small mistake. But I think 1200 would be better just because I could take it down a lot more flops. He'd have to hit the flop pretty hard for him to continue, especially with my stack size. He doesn't want to go out just before the final table with his chip leader versus stack. And I'm the only guy who can pretty much cripple him. This blind level is a time where you want to be shoving pretty wide with a 3k stack. I imagine Chip Fricker's range is pretty wide in that spot. I didn't have a hand to call him with, unfortunately. That's a nice hand to pick up in the big blind. From memory, I'm pretty sure later today raises. And I think he might be getting a little fed up with me at this point. Mainly because we had that a6 hand. Oh, he decides to limp. So another limp, which is a little strange. Which is not a really optimal play. So there's a tip for you guys is don't limp in these later stages of the tournament. So you're not getting a lot of value from hands. And it's just a really weak player overall to be limping with a big stack on the button. You should be taking down the flop a lot more. And he puts himself in a really weird spot on this flop. I'm deciding what to bet. I think I prefer a $1,400 bet, mainly because it's such a dry board that I don't think it can have a lot of hands. Granted, I think a king X hand makes up a lot of his range when he limps the button. But I think I prefer a $1,400 bet just so he could do something a little crazy there. I mean, if he has a hand like King 9, so be it, I'm going broke, but I think that'd be a better play to make it 1400 instead of 1600. Just feels a little bit strong when you make it 16. If it's folded to me here, I imagine I'd be shoving all in on Lazy Boy. Yeah, I'd be shoving almost any 2 cards. Obviously, I'm not going to be calling with Queen 3 off there. So I think we're on the final table bubble now. And I think I'm going to be using my stack here. I should be shoving Queen Jack all in here. Yeah. That's definitely something you're going to be doing. It's pretty much the nuts on the button. You got a big stack. Queen Jack is the nuts. Now pick up another big hand. So we'll be picking up a lot of hands. I decided 3 exit. Normally I'd make it 1,000 there. I think because later today's in the big blind, I want to make it a little bit bigger if he decided to flat me. And I'm pretty sure this is where I stack him. I don't think he... Yeah, I think he just flats and I get a pretty good flop. Yeah, normally I'd be making it 1,000. I'd be doing that with any hand. If it was 10 Jack or something, I'd be making it 1,000 just in case. Please don't river shoves on me. I'd be committed to call Lazy Boy, of course, but if I'd save myself 200 chips if please don't river decided to shove on me. So we get a King High flop, which is essentially the nuts into the spot. We're deciding about 1,600 again. I think I would prefer 1,400. Yeah, and he decides to bin raise. I think this is one of those spots where I don't think I'm going to get value if I decide to shove all in. Mainly because should be shoving his stack in on the turn anyway. So if he has a flush draw, so be it, and he hits it on the turn, whatever. And with 2 flush draws out here, I think I'll decide to raise. I just want to pause the video there and just talk about the flop call. I think I just pause it. Maybe I can't pause it. Well, I think a flop call, I don't want to be shoving all in because I'm not sure if I'm getting value for hands that are bluffs, essentially. So if he has a hand like, 6-7 or, 4-5 or, a diamond draw, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not going to be folding this hand at any point. So no matter what the turn card is, I'm going to be getting it all in there. Comments or advice on what you thought about it, and